Hello, welcome to Wargamer and the Age of Sigmar Stat Center, recorded every Monday on Twitch. You can join us live. This is also a podcast, so if you are listening to the podcast, loads of love to you. Today we're going to be looking at 5 events, including the massive Cancon event, but almost all of these events are old book and old points. And so I'm not going to deep dive any of the lists because they just aren't overly relevant to the future meta, which is really what I tend to cover here. Now, I expect there to be loads of Beast of Chaos wins today, so let's go and deep dive this. As always, this entire show is brought to you by the Twitch chat and everyone on the Instagram and Patreon. Okay, so the biggest Age of Sigmar 3 event to date, until next week, Cancon 2023, organised by Clinto from Heralds of War. It was held by the. So Cancon, or Call to Glory, is the actual event name. Held in the Canberra Gaming Society event in Canberra, obviously in Australia. So it's here. Oh, actually, technically, it's down that road. So a bit of a sand dune, kind of. It's in the middle of Canberra, and it's in these big, like almost cattle-like sheds, and it is warm. Having been there twice now, it's very hot, but manageable, and the event is always super fun and full of amazing people. 202 players. Here's some pictures of the actual event put up by the Models Citizens Gaming Society. So there's some pictures. I think there aren't mats. I think they use wooden boards, if I remember correctly. But yeah, looked like everyone had a great time. Now, they didn't use BCP for the event and use something called Stats and Ladders. And so the link will be into that, but you do have to make an account. And probably this will be the only event in the history of time that we'll ever look at that will use Stats and Ladders. So probably don't bother. And this is all last GHB and last points. So the points before the most recent Battle Scroll update. So I won't be covering the list in detail because there's not really much to say, because there's lots of points changes and there are lots of meta change stuff that's happening. Now, some of these players may be able to correct me on that, but I'm just going to skip through them and congratulate the players who all went 5-0. Because 202 people, they only played 5 rounds, so we ended up with 6 5-0s, which is really exciting. Geordie Flett won it with Beast of Chaos. He had 2 units of 6 Zangor Enlightened on disc, and he had some Dragon Ogres and some Zangors. Now, Beast of Chaos is my pick also to probably take out LVO. Their win rate is through the roof. They're just an absolutely fantastic and powerful army. Just really, really excellent. So yeah, really, really good. Obviously, new book incoming as well. So this is old book, old points. New book incoming. So that's all going to change. There's no real point going through why. But for these last 2 versions of that GHB going out, so this and LVO next week, where we'll have I think there's 300 people playing in that. So that's going to be 500 people playing this game system at the kind of end of its life, which kind of feels a bit odd. But anyway, Corey Papanini. Now, it was won by Geordie Flett. Now, I don't know Geordie. I'd love to know Geordie. Geordie, if you're out there, congratulations for being currently the winner of the biggest Age of Sigmar 3 event to date until next week. You used to be super chuffed with yourself. Geordie also won because it's 5-0, so win, loss, draw, so 5-0. And then, not strength of schedule, it was like a total score. So Geordie also got 3 favourite sports votes, and he also got 35 points for his army, how it looked. So he was able to jump ahead. Corey in 2nd place, Joel in 3rd place, Henry in 4th place, Gary in 5th place, and Wan Yu in 6th place. He was able to jump ahead of them because of those favourite game votes and also his army being painted really nice. So there you go. So congratulations to Geordie. Got to feel super chuffed with that. Maybe he just turned up, played his Beast of Chaos, and was like, oh my God, I'm doing really well. Now, Corey in 2nd place. We see Corey win events all the time. Really massive shout out to Corey. He took Seraphon. Joel, we see also do really, really well in the Australian scene all the time. He took Maggotkin of Nurgon. A nice little different list with a bunch of Rotmire, which I enjoyed. Henry, I don't think I know Henry, but congratulations to him. He took Seraphon as well. He had a bunch of Salamanders and Skinks. Corey also had some Skinks. I think Henry also had an Incarnate. Gary with his Sylvaneth took a bunch of Kurnoth, so Gary Chen, congratulations to him. And Wan Yu Pang took 5 Knight Vexillers and a Lord Relictor in a list, which is a super fun list, and I think would still do well in the new version of the GHB, which is really exciting. And loads of other big names as well, like the Cron's in there, Matt Tyrrell's in there, Ash McEwen's in there, Liam making a return with his Daughters of Cain, doing really well. So just some really great. Carwin, absolutely love Carwin. All playing some good games of Warhammer. Obviously, events of this size, or as events get to this size, it would be nice to see a more clear winner. I would really have liked to have seen things like, I don't know, a 6th round, but I don't think many people wanted to play more. Maybe they could have started earlier on the Friday. Maybe they could have had a shadow round. There's a bunch of stuff. But I know that Cancon has always been something where people do a load of hobby as well. It's really a chance for the whole Australian scene to get together and play a bunch of games. And as you can see from the best painted army or coolest army from Warnarok. So this is Senzor on Twitter, and I'll put a link in the comments. And for the podcast people, I'm describing a Mad Max style Iron Jaws army, which has got speakers, there are LED lights, the whole thing. And Senzor, as a graphic designer, has done a really good job on producing a phenomenal army. They're all really great, so let's check it out. So it's more of a, I guess it's a tournament, as most of these tournaments are, but there's a little bit more to it than that. So yeah, really exciting to see the whole community get back together over in Australia. And then I would also say that one of the things is this is a really good indication as to maybe why there shouldn't be 6-month seasons on General's Handbooks. Mainly because then you end up in this position where you kind of are at the end of a series of things, and it just doesn't really feel very necessary. Does that make sense? Yeah, I've explained that really badly. You end up at the end of the season, and then it doesn't feel as relevant, even though it obviously is super relevant to everyone who went and played, and it is really relevant to everyone who had a great time. So again, I'm glad everyone had a great time, and I think there's a really good justification for there not being 6-month seasons right now, because you end up with these really massive events being on the old system, which feels weird and odd and disconnected. Again, old book, old points. We're not going to go into this in detail. Craig Chester's organised the March to War 2023 in Redland Industrial Estate in England. And as you can see, it's located here, very much like our Florida event, to be honest, at the Glasshammer Gaming Centre, which is located just behind this industrial complex. The event was taken out for his very first ever 5-0 by Luke Churchus. A bunch of ogres and some iron blasters. Matt Mallow, just off a 5-0 from last week, went 4-1, and he had 9 Revenant Seekers in a Lumineth list with Gotrek Grunrinson, that guy. Absolutely excellent. And then Nick with a 4-1, Nick Thompson from the West Midlands Wargamers. He ended up getting a 4-1, and he was running Beasts of Chaos, and that was just some Enlightened and Dragon Ogres. Best list in the game. Looked like a fun event. Loads of the people who were at the event are in the chat. I hope they had an amazing time. I completely missed the Sloane Ranger. Lewis Sloane also went 4-1. Absolutely. With, again, more ogres. The Sloane Ranger. He took loads of Thunder Tusks. No, he took 1 Thunder Tusk. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 Stone Hordes of the Tyrant is what he took. So yeah, excellent. Glasshammer Gaming, runs loads of events. You get the opportunity to go out there, and you don't mind peeing outside, then it's a wonderful group of people to go hang out with, and you should go have some fun. Okay, so our next event takes us up to Scotland. So this is new points, old GHB, but the old Slave Sedaris book is allowed in. So there's a load of stuff happening here. So this is Northern Masters. So some places have regional masters, so they either use their own ranking system, or now we have international ranking systems. Sometimes they use those ranking systems, and then what they do is they invite the top certain amount of people. So at this particular event, it was the top 16, which is pretty common. And then they see who's the master of their region. So Northern Masters, organised by Grant Fraser, which is being held in Stirling. So just down, so at the Stirling Common Ground Games, which is kind of located between the tax assistant accountants and just someone's house. But they do have a big ramp for disabled access, which is actually really sweet. So this is in Stirling. I've not actually been inside it. One of my goals is to go up there at some point. I really want to go. It'd be really fun. Anyway, 16 people. And for the last couple of years, I'm pretty certain, if the chat haven't informed me correctly, John B has won it for the past few years. But Andrew Curry, was able to pip him at the post. So shout out to Andy. And Andy was running Ogres. So he was running Ogres. Yeah, pretty certain. Got that right. Yeah, he was running Ogres, which is cool. But it's new points, old GHB. And so therefore there was 3 Iron Blasters, some Noblars, some Lead Belchers, Blood Pelt Hunter and some other stuff. And then Beasts of Chaos with old Slaves to Darkness units in it, using new points in the old GHB, came second. And it had like Mindstealer Phalanx and some other stuff. The cool thing about this event is normally when the Masters event is happening, that's pretty much it. But they also organised the Lasters event, which is an additional event that they ran, where people who hadn't qualified to the Masters could go play. And our man JJ, formerly my local, has been up in Scotland. And I think since being up in Scotland, I think he's gone 20-0, or he might have gone 19 wins and a draw up in Scotland. So a real menace, taking a bunch of Stormcast Eternals to this event and taking it out, which is really exciting. Scottish scene seems like a really wicked group of people. If you ever get the chance to go up there, you should do so. Okay. Now another Masters. It's the season of Masters. Masters is all happening. We've just had the Scottish Masters, and now we've got the Norwegian Masters, which again was they collect the top players from their country in Norway, and then they have the Norwegian Masters. And there's loads of names you're going to recognise in here. Ole Gunnar Vatland, Geir Verdeld from the D6 Wargaming Club, 2D6 Wargaming Club. Benjamin Floder, I love him, he's great. Anyway, Danny won the event, and he was running Beasts of Chaos. It was old points and also old GHB, so we're not going to go into it too much, especially as the new Beast of Chaos book is out this weekend. Therefore, the whole thing's going to change. You don't need me to talk about it. Christopher Malberg in second place was also running Beast of Chaos. And the event was being held here in Narvesen. Here, I think. I think it was actually at the 2D6 Club. So this is in Oslo. And it was organised by Thomas Berg. Norwegian scene is really healthy. I think the 2D6 Wargaming Club, where this was held, is now the largest wargaming club in the world. Over 180 people in their wargaming club alone, just in Oslo, which is nuts. Absolutely nuts. And it really goes a big shout out to the organizer, Geir Verdeld, and the rest of the team who organise that, because they do so much for their local community to organise that and build it up. And that really showcases that you can do that. If someone is there making it work and happen, you can do that. So shout out to everyone in Norway. Congratulations to the current Norwegian Master. Oh no. And his name is Danny Elvsted. I didn't even need to look. Shout out to him. Our final event takes us to the Netherlands, where the Dutch live. And there was a 35-person event organised by, it was called Bloodstorm, organised by Scar Miniature Madness from Team Turbo, my Netherlands-based wargaming team. I'm in a different wargaming team in each nation, and I'm in Team Turbo when I'm in the Netherlands. The event was run by Mitchell de Boer. Again, this is old book. This is an old points, so we're not going to go this into any particular detail. And this was Sylvaneth, but congratulations to Mitchell. And then in the 4-1 bracket, you had John de Bruijn with Stormcast Eternals and Nicky Borbum with Stormcast Eternals. So congratulations to both of them. Congratulations to everyone there. So that's pretty good. Like, I remember when the Netherlands couldn't quite get this. No, that's not true. Netherlands has some massive events. Alliance Open Tom and all the rest of the guys have some big events. It's pretty exciting that there was like a 30-person event here, Masters over in Norway. They're pretty close to each other, so that's really fun. Okay, let's just do a review of the week, and it's been weird. That's the only way to describe it. I definitely am feeling the pains and aches of switching from one GHB to the other GHB, especially with the new GHB coming out, or is out now for a week. But a lot of people obviously are still playing for the old GHB, and a lot of tournament organizers are making the decision, like, look, we don't want you to change your army list this quick, which is quite fair. And we might probably still have a bunch of old GHB stuff over the next couple of months when we do the stat show. It's not that it's irrelevant, it's all important, and all of those wins are super important. So congratulations to all of the winners, and well done to everyone who did well and played hard and had a great time. It's just sometimes, especially on this show, I use this show as a vehicle for looking forward to the future and looking at those lists and stuff that might do well in the current existing meta. And because they're not playing in the game state as currently exists now, I feel like it doesn't really need over-analysis and review because it doesn't really help. So hopefully we're going to get some new events soon, and we're going to get some... and also, I don't expect the lists to drastically change from the old GHB to the new GHB. Obviously, some points have changed, and then there's a Galician Champions thing, but I don't think the points are going to wildly change. The lists aren't going to wildly change, which is fine. That doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't need to wildly change. But right now, there's going to be some considerations that aren't really had. So I'm really looking forward to breaking down those lists when we do. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, Monday is normally when we record these shows. I do it with the Twitch chat, as you can see here, and we go on unhinged strolls and journeys through the internet while we're doing it. Today was a particularly bad one, so look, it's a bit unhinged. But if you want to join us on a Monday, then please do. That would be really great. But thank you so much for watching the show. Please like and subscribe and all that other stuff. And also, if you listen to a podcast, hope you stay hydrated. Thanks everyone for listening, and thanks for being honest Wargamer. Hello, welcome to Honest Wargamer and the Age of Sigmar Stat Center, recorded every Monday on Twitch. You can join us live. This is also a podcast, so if you are listening to the podcast, loads of love to you. Today we're going to be looking at 5 events, including the massive Cancon event, but almost all of these events are old book and old points. And so I'm not going to deep dive any of the lists because they just aren't overly relevant to the future meta, which is really what I tend to cover here. Now, I expect there to be loads of Beast of Chaos wins today, so let's go and deep dive this. As always, this entire show is brought to you by the Twitch chat and everyone on the Instagram and Patreon. Let's go.